in civil rights and social justice. But a guy like me who's on the front line, when I'm finished with your experiment in nonviolence, then you have to be concerned. So for 3 hours, they lit him up. Bobby Kennedy got pissed. And let me tell you what, even though he's a white liberal, he was extremely upset. He went to his office. He authorized the FBI to wiretap most of the people in the room.
Wow.
Clarence Jones was in that room, too. Clarence Jones was the lawyer of both James Baldwin and Martin Luther King Jr. So a lot of them already had a little bit from the FBI on them, but he authorized it. Liberal white politician authorizing the further wiretapping of American citizens. But then he calmed down and he said, you know what? If I was black and born that way, I might be full of rage too. Went to his brother and said, you need to talk about civil rights as a moral issue. Kennedy gave a famous speech, I think in June, talking about it that way. I'm talking about John Kennedy now. Mm-hmm. And for the rest of his life, he was transformed, that is Bobby Kennedy, into a man who was much more humane, much more sympathetic. He had been a bulldog for McCarthy in the 50s, but in the 60s, he was transformed. And that meeting transformed his outlook, changed history because it made him much more sympathetic and empathetic to black and other people in this world. So that's what this book is about. But then, that's just the first chapter. I deal with that meeting.
That's
then
the first chapter.
But I relate it now to what's going on now. Who was there? Activists, intellectuals,
entertainers,
artists and entertainers, and I go through that now. I take it from Harry Belafonte to Jesse Williams to Get Out to Black Panther. I take it intellectually. I take it from James Baldwin beefing with Cleaver to Cornel West beefing with Ta-Nehisi Coates. I take it down now to athletes. I got a chapter on them where Ali was dominant and Baldwin talked about him, to LeBron, to Kaepernick, and to folk who are doing their thing now. So this book tries to bring it up to date and talk about what is going on today as a reflection of what happened back then.
So that meeting probably helped shape the Civil Rights Act of 1964.
Absolutely it did.
Yeah.
I mean, because if Bobby Kennedy is shaped in a profound way, shaken up, challenged, angry, and then reconciling his own anger to the facts on the ground because of black suffering, then that meant Jack Kennedy was too. And if he influenced Jack Kennedy, he influenced the civil rights movement in this.
This place was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there was just a hit factory, one after the other after the other.
These things happened in this era of civil rights, and in the face of persistent, now inconceivable hatred. This did affect Motown slightly, in the sense that some of their early albums did not show black people. For example, Please Mr. Postman, the album by the Marvelettes, did not show any human beings. It showed a mailbox. And as late as 1965, the Isley Brothers, This Old Heart of Mine, had 2 white teenagers at the beach on the cover. The young Americans who had grown up without the 100 years plus of prejudice had just taken this to their hearts. It didn't occur to them to think it was anything other than what it was. And the Motown records regularly went into the charts.
Only the civil rights era. You're talking about the emergence of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and other leaders as strong political figures. You're also talking about the Vietnam War.
It's a tall order to compare how Motown contributed to the civil rights movement in comparison to seminal figures such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Did it contribute, I think, to the overall atmosphere? It did. And by this music being able to reach across racial lines, to me, Motown and its aesthetic, its level of songwriting, musicianship, professionalism.
Hi, my name is Harry Belafonte. I'm an artist, and I'm not a politician. But like most Americans, I have a great interest in the political and the economic destiny of my country. I'm seated here with Senator Jack Kennedy. As a Negro and as an American, I have many questions, and I'm sure everyone does, about civil rights, about foreign policy, about the economy of the country, and about things that'll happen.
And I want to make it very clear, Harry, that on this question of equality of opportunity for all Americans, whether it's in the field of civil rights, better minimum wages, better housing, better working conditions, jobs, I stand for these things. The Democratic Party under Franklin Roosevelt stood for them.
I'm voting for this, Senator. How about you?
Vote for a leader like Roosevelt. Vote for John F. Kennedy for president.